Does this sound familiar? You've got one device that lets you catch the game live, another that lets you stream your favorite shows, you're watching sports highlights on your phone, and you've got your neighbor's best friend's login for the good stuff. Well, I want to tell you about a simple way to get all that entertainment you love without the hassle and a great way to finally get your TV together. It's called DirecTV Stream, and it brings you live TV and on-demand favorites together like never before so you can watch your favorite sports, movies, and shows all in one place. That means no more juggling remotes and no need to buy another device ever again. And the best part? There's no annual contract. So get rid of the clutter and the confusion and get your TV together with DirecTV Stream. You can learn more at directtv.com. That's directtv.com. Compatible device required. Content varies by package.
Working hard for respect in my city. I'm working hard for respect. Yeah. You think you got it, I got it for real. You think you got what I got? This one for those they forget in my city. This one for those they forget. Yeah. This dog off the leash and it's ready to kill.
Yes, we are here. Welcome to Veterans Minimum. At Veterans Minimum, as you can find everything for the show. My guy ALLEN in the building.
48 hours till kickoff.
Let's go, man. Let's go. We are recording this Tuesday evening. And I'm pumped. Shouts to everyone that listened to the NFL preview show. We got some good numbers back, Alan. I'm very excited about that. That's the third one that I do with you. So that's pretty cool. Real quick roll call in the event that you guys hear this prior to the deadline. The Survivor contest is up right now. $20 entry. You have until kickoff of the Thursday night game. $500 first place prize. I always struggle with that. 3 merch items. One is a bomber jacket. All can join. The link is in the description of the bio, past episodes as well. Check that out, enter, and congrats. I am fighting some allergies, Alan, because I turned back the fountain of youth, and I played basketball for about 8 hours Labor Day Monday. And it's been fucking me up ever since.
Yeah, for people listening to this, he is struggling right now. He's like wiping his eyes. It's like he's pitching in like 105-degree weather. Like you're a closer or something. I don't even know baseball, but that's how I'm comparing to because you're like his eyes are just tearing up right now.
Yeah, and I'm big on like having eye contact for many reasons, and I'm not gonna be able to look at Alan in those sexy eyes. Alan, how pumped are you for football, man?
Big time. I think this is a really good week 1 slate. Sometimes I feel like the week 1 slate could be a bit of a not dud, but there aren't too many high profile matchups or attractive matchups. Even though the Sunday night game is a bit of a dud, I think everything else is really exciting.
Yeah, I kind of feel the same way. You know, with the Survivor contest, I'm trying to find a team that I could pick, and it's kind of hard, man. I think you're going to have to go with a favorite early on,
right? And
just to be safe, you know, like there's always 2 approaches when you do Survivor contests, at least for me. Do you do any Survivor contests at all?
Yeah, I dabble in it. Like looking at the slate, it's like, okay, you don't want to go one of the favorites early on, but do you want to take a risk on a team like Minnesota against Cincinnati? Like that could be it, but then again, Vikings defense could fall apart, and next thing you know, Cincy's offense could be for real, and you got an upset on your hands. So,
yeah, that's it's one of 2 ways you take, right? Do you take it the conservative route and you go with the Bucks, or you go with the Chiefs,
or the Rams,
but then you lose them for the rest of the year, or do you get a little crazy? Do you take a Carolina, right? Do you take someone like maybe the Giants at home, right? Like I'm just throwing out some games that are interesting.
Whoever's taking the Giants at home, damn, you are feeling a lot more better than most people.
Well, I'll tell you this much, man. I was looking at the line for that game. Now they're a 3-point underdog. I think that's a little crazy, too. Though Teddy Bridgewater does cover about 75% of his games as a starter. So there is that as well. Alan, there's a segment at the end of the show that I want to get to, which I think is going to be fun. But I want to dive right into some of these games, man. And I think, like you said, it's a very interesting week 1 slate. What do you think is the most interesting game on the slate?
Ironically, I don't think it was included in the list of games we're talking about. I'm very curious about Green Bay New Orleans. I just want to see what this New Orleans offense could look like. They just released Latavius Murray, which I know was kind of being rumored, but now it's actually happened. So just how they're going to incorporate Taysom Hill, obviously Jameis era, and first game of Green Bay after everything that's happened this offseason, will they be clicking? So I think there's just so many questions there.
Dude, I think, are you cool with just talking about that, even though we didn't mention
get
it?
into it?
Yeah, because I think that is a fascinating one because
I think it's the 4 o'clock game.
it's 4:25, along with the Browns and Chiefs game also. So we got 2 games that we'll keep an eye on.
That's the best game.
In that 4 o'clock window.
Yeah.
But the Packers and Saints, you're right. It's interesting because that game got moved because of the hurricane.
Mm-hmm.
So now they're playing that game in Jacksonville. Apparently the Saints picked Jacksonville because they were worried about the Green Bay fans traveling.
They travel.
And apparently there's a big pocket of Packer fans, Packer Nation, in Jacksonville.
Mm-hmm.
So they're expecting a big crowd also. The line moves from 2 to now a 4.5-point favorite is what the Packers are going to be. A lot of that is because of the uncertainty of what to make of Jameis Winston now. You're not going to have Michael Thomas.
Mm-hmm.
Man, round of applause to you about Alvin Kamara being the most valuable offensive piece in all of football probably, especially now with how no Drew Brees, no Michael Thomas.
Right.
How you feel about Kamara entering this year in this game in particular?
He might average like 30 touches a game because I don't know what's their running back depth now. They probably have some 6th-rounder emerging, but for most part, it's him. I know Callaway's been getting buzz. Traquan Smith might have a little more value now as a vertical threat now that Jameis is back there. But you look at Kamara, it's like he's someone that could catch 10 passes a game and get 15 to 20 carries. So it wouldn't surprise you one bit if he gets 30 touches. It's just a matter of maybe when it comes to goal line, I think you give Taysom Hill more looks. But then again, Kamara, I think besides Derrick Henry, is like the most efficient runner within the 5-yard line. Like he actually converts a lot of goal line situations and even 3rd and short. So he's obviously going to get the huge workload. I think Sean Payton realized that's probably their best chance to win because I don't think the Saints have the skills or the personnel, to contain Green Bay's offense. Because I think Green Bay's offense, I'll be surprised if they're not clicking right away. Even though they don't have Bakhtiari for the first 6 weeks, I fully expect Rodgers to be all set, locked and loaded.
The running back now is Tony Jones Jr. out of Notre Dame. He's going to step in. A lot of people were saying he's a late use a waiver kind of guy on him. Or a handcuff, or a handcuff for sure. Jameis Winston got to be the storyline of this one.
Tough opening game. I think the hype. There's been growing hype about or growing buzz about Green Bay's defense. I think now that Mike Pettin's gone, it's going to open things up. Mm-hmm. I'm really excited about Green Bay's defense.
Well, I also think with this one, I was having this conversation with my buddy Dom at the gym. It was like, Winston, he's never really had anyone to throw to. And I was like, nah, dude, you definitely can't say. He's like, oh my God.
People go to enter the league.
Yeah, he's like, I completely forgot about Godwin and Mike Evans. Yeah. And now you go from there to now what the Saints have currently. It's basically Kamara and a bunch of cast-offs. I get the Callaway buzz, and he might get there just off targets and volume, and he seems to be a guy that fits perfectly to what Winston likes to do. Mm-hmm. But again, this is a tough test for the Saints now without Breeze. Say what you want about Breeze the last couple of years. He's brought stability to that position for a decade and a half. Mm-hmm. And now he's not there also. I want to see what their defense is going to look like too, because they lose Hendrickson to the Bengals. He was a big part of their defense. Mm-hmm. Some of their guys have either not performed well or they're getting up there in age, right? Like Jordan is up there in age now. Lattimore came in as like the next Darrelle Revis the first year and a half, and then since then it's kind of been
their quarterback's very shaky.
Yeah,
they just signed Desmond Trufante, who I love, but he's last 2 years has been very injury prone, and I think he's some family issue, reason why Chicago released him. So it's a lot of uncertainty there. I think Marcus Davenport, remember who they traded a first round pick, or they moved up in the first round to get. He's someone that really needs to step up for him. They just lost a lot of depth, losing guys like Sheldon Rankins as well. So there's just so much questions in New Orleans. But one thing they have Sean Payton, a top 3 running back or top 5, depending on how you want to break it down, and a great O-line. So these are things that are huge assets and things you want in the NFL. So I'm not totally going to write off New Orleans, but it's just way too many question marks in a conference filled with good teams.
Yeah, the NFC is loaded. That was something we highlighted on the NFL preview show. Mm-hmm. And also, I think New Orleans is one of the few places where home field advantage really matters.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Like, that's a place where I feel like Kansas City, Seattle, the Saints, Green Bay.
Yeah, look at week 1 last year. It was that Saints-Bucks game. Like, Tampa's offense really struggled. Brady
Yeah.
didn't get much rhythm. I know Evans was banged up, but still.
Yeah, and it's a venue that's been historically tough for a lot of teams to go play in, and I think it's one of the few home field advantages in the NFL. And now you don't have that. That's also why that line moved 2.5 points. But I think similar to you, I want to see what this Packers offense is going to look like with a lot of the same guys coming back. Rodgers now in the last dance, and I do the air quotes for those of you watching because I'm not buying the last dance thing. It's the hype off that documentary because it's not like you've won all these championships.
Yeah, and I know it's going to be hard, but I just kind of want to not talk about his future, like at least until after the season's over. Like I feel like every week we're going to talk about, this might be it right over last year. I'm like, let's just see how it goes this season. I want to focus on the present. So because I just know it's going to be a weekly storyline. It's going to get exhausting. So
yeah, because it's also they're a legitimate contender.
Yeah,
I feel as if in the NFC it's the Bucks, the Packers, and the Rams.
Yeah, that's
in my opinion. And then there's a tier right below them, which is very close. Like if a couple things go right, like Seattle, if their defense improves, San Fran, if Jimmy G stays healthy or they put in Trey Lance, then you can enter them into that next.
Exactly.
Everyone else is like similar to Washington, right? Washington is, what do we make of Fitzpatrick, right? The more I was looking at Washington's schedule, and I think that's a nice segue into the next game that we got highlighted, Chargers going at Washington. Last year, their defense was great. But they didn't exactly play a lot of Pat Mahomeses and Aaron Rodgers. They were playing a lot of jobber quarterbacks.
Last place schedule to a first place schedule might be a little daunting for them.
Yeah.
And now they're playing the AFC West, which is a very tough division. So it's gonna be a bit of a transition. I know that we're both pretty high on the Washington football team. We're treated to see the offense, but like same time, like Curtis Samuel, I realize has not practiced in a long time.
Dude, how does he show up out of shape too? Have you seen those reports?
I have not seen that.
He might be on a snap count because there's concerns from Rivera and the coaching staff that he's not in shape.
Ouch.
He hasn't been able to fully practice since
he's
June.
had a groin issue.
Yeah, he's had groin.
Yeah.
He's had COVID issues. And, Daimi Brown coming out of UNC was a guy who made a really big catch in the preseason too, and they've been hyping him up also. He'll probably be in those 3 wide receiver sets along with Cam Sims, who's more of a special team kind of guy.
Right. Maybe they'll put McKissick in the slot.
Right, and then Logan Thomas as well.
I love me. I think I don't know if he's like the next one to like really break out, but I'm just seeing just how big he is and the way he goes down the seam, making he's just a real physical presence. I'm intrigued by Logan Thomas.
Yeah, good for him too, man. He got paid this offseason, three-year contract extension for $24 million for a dude that was not going to play quarterback in the league to transition to tight end. I think that dude should definitely be proud of what he's done. But I really want to talk about the Chargers because everyone knows I have a boner for the LA Chargers this year for many, many reasons, most notably Justin Herbert. I think he might struggle week 1. I think I could see it already. I'm going to get tweets saying, yo, hell of a pick, man, like sarcastic stuff, or people just trolling me.
The week 1 overreaction.
Week 1 overreaction. And here's why, right? You got 3 new starters on that offensive line. It's the first time he's going to play in front of a live crowd like
One
that.
of them is an all-pro, Corey Lindsey.
Oh, Lindsey. Yeah. Well, right. It's
and then left tackle is a highly regarded first rounder.
Right.
So you hope they're upgrades, but I understand. It might take time
but
to
the continuity and shit like
and
that,
you're going
right?
against the deepest D-line in the league.
Yeah, that front 7 it's definitely, if you're a Chargers fan or if you're someone like me who's fully invested in the Chargers for many reasons, if you leave this game and Justin Herbert isn't sacked 8 times with 20 quarterback hits or something, and you're like, yo, if they can keep up against this defensive line, you should be really excited.
Well, they invest a lot in these are matchups you want to see. They've clearly invested a lot in the offensive line. I'm curious how Joe Lombardi, their new offensive coordinator, he came from the Saints. He was very integral in their success with Sean Payton. So I think with the Chargers, maybe you see pieces there, but I think maybe I want to see one receiver or one weapon in general emerge, because we know about Keenan Allen. I think Mike Williams, I know he's a top 10 pick and he's been kind of labeled underachiever, but I still think Mike Williams could be a huge asset, one of the best contested catch receivers in the league. And Eckler, we know how dynamic he is, but I think the Chargers could use maybe just that one more weapon. I don't know who is it going to be, but we know who could emerge. And then I think it's going to be a dogfight. I could see both defenses causing a lot of problems considering the talent level between both. It's just a matter of, I think, how is with Fitzpatrick, what are you going to get from him?
Yeah, I could definitely see this game being a game where a lot of people are angry at the guys in the fantasy world. Like you could
like
see
a Terry
Herbert,
McLaurin or Keenan
Terry,
Allen.
Gibson, Eckler, but
It's intriguing one. I think it's a real 50-50.
it is. Hey, are you worried about dudes like Herbert, Tua, Burrow, these guys playing in front of full capacity crowds now? Because a lot of stadiums they played in last year, they didn't have to worry about that.
That's a fair take. I could see that. I don't know if I'm too worried, but I could see why you'd be worried. But personally, I think they got the experience.
Yeah.
Maybe if it was like a hostile environment. I don't know. Dude, I've been to Washington Stadium.
Bro.
Not good. I could say a lot more hurtful things. I'm just going to say it's atmosphere is.
Yo, we went in 2015. I'll never forget this. And we bought tickets for Cleveland Browns against the Washington football team.
Yeah.
And it was supposed to be RG3's return to Washington. And then he got hurt in that week 1 Eagles game. But we bought the tickets from early on before. So we go down to D.C. We have a great weekend, the guys and I. And the stadium's empty. There's no one in the stadium. And we had bought, like, last row, cheapest tickets all the way up top. A couple of the guys upgraded their seats. Like, they bought newer tickets for, like, an extra $120, and they sat in the end zone. Ahmed and I bought tickets for like $72.
Man.
Bro, no exaggeration. You ever seen Hey Arnold, that one episode where like he goes to the baseball?
I've never watched Hey Arnold.
Bro, are you kidding? How have you not watched Hey Arnold? It's the greatest cartoon of all time. But Hey Arnold goes to like a baseball game and he sits directly behind this pole. So he can, every time he's going to watch the game, he's like, he like, or if you've seen any cartoon where like
I had to do that at WrestleMania when they had the big poles.
Oh, the big poles, yeah.
At MetLife.
Or even if you sit in UFC, if you're close enough, you can't see like sometimes a little where it's like the DraftKings sponsor or some shit, or like Proper 12. So, dude, we're over there and Ahmed's like, yo, I can't believe we just bought these tickets. And then we just ended up like moving past it. But there's a legit, like at the 10-yard line in one of the end zones, you can't see.
Man.
I was like, oh my God, what a shitbag stadium, yo. Dude's worth billions of dollars and he has that crust ball.
Dan
over
Schneider, less said the better.
Oh, yeah. I think Logan Thomas scored a touchdown in that game, too. Oh, Josh Gordon. Sorry, it was Josh Gordon.
I don't know if Logan Thomas is in the league.
On the team yet, yeah. But how you got this game playing out, man? Because I do think that they want you to bet the Chargers this week. All the lines, all the tickets are coming in on the Chargers. I'm fully prepared, and this is not a hedge. I think Washington wins this game. And I already expect a lot of people to be like, yo, nice take on Justin Herbert when he throws 3 picks.
Yeah, I think Washington wins a scrap fest. That's all I'm leaning on. I think Gibson has a big game.
Gibson, right?
Yeah.
I'm excited to see him too, man. I want to see them use him more as a wide receiver because he was a wide receiver.
That's the off-season buzz. They're gonna do that. By the way, we both have Green Bay, assuming, right?
Yeah. I'm on Green Bay, and now we're both on Washington here.
Right, yeah.
I want to try my best to track those when we're on the same side, see how it plays out. Because you know me, though, I like to fucking dabble a little bit.
You take chances.
Yes, NFL football is finally back, and there's no need to exhaust yourself searching all over the internet to find NFL tickets anymore. Because TickPick, that's TickPick, is the original no-fee ticket site and the only one you'll ever need as your go-to for all NFL tickets. TickPick got rid of all those awful service fees that the other ticket sites charge, which lets them guarantee the best price on all of their NFL tickets. Don't believe it? If you can find better prices for the same seats on another ticket site, TickPick will give you 110% of the difference in the purchase price. I cannot wait to use TickPick to go to a game this year, and in particular, not a Giants game because I'm done with them until proven otherwise. I'm not going to waste my money to just go be miserable for 3.5 hours and then sit in traffic in the Lincoln Tunnel on the way back. Thanks a lot, Dave Gettleman. But I plan on going to Vegas a couple times this football season. And I'm looking forward to going to that new Raiders Stadium, go to a game out in Vegas, see what that vibe is like. First season with fans for the Raiders Stadium. So that's probably where I'll be using my TickPick services. And I'm sure they'll have me covered. So if you want to go to a game this year, visit tickpick.com/VM today and use the promo code VM to save $10 on your first order of NFL tickets. That is VM as the promo code to get $10 off your first order of NFL tickets. I don't know how often we're going to talk about these two teams, but I think it's poetic justice that this is a week 1 matchup. Panthers, Jets, the Adam Gase Bowl. Right? Adam Gase leaves the Jets, new regime over there, Saleh, Zach Wilson, Mike LaFleur coming in as the OC. And then on the flip side, you got Matt Rule and the Panthers, who had interviewed with the Jets, wanted to be in New York, and you have the former Jets quarterback, Sam Darnold. Now, I think the Panthers, I really wanted to, Alan, on the preview show, I wanted to say they would make the playoffs or be like a borderline playoff team. And I know it's not really saying a lot because it's the extra playoff team now. It's 7 playoff teams. Right. But I feel like we might be looking back at the Panthers and being like, yo, they were better than we thought.
Yeah, I think offensively, that's the real
offensively, bro, they're going to be a problem. If Sam Darnold could do anything competently and just be the Ryan Tannehill comparison that everyone's made, right? Because he leaves Adam Gase, he goes to a new place. But I think it's very important that all situations are different. And, dude, Marshall Jr. from LSU was the number one rated rookie per PFF. I know PFF a little hostile over here on this program.
I don't mind PFF, but yeah, they have their issues.
They have their issues, as we all do. The number one rookie wide receiver in the preseason. You got DJ Moore. You got Robbie Anderson. You got CMC. I really like them offensively. Defensively, a lot of question marks. Let's see. J.C. Horn had some moments in the preseason too. But it's a tough ask for a rookie to have to go up against the Mike Evans of the world and Calvin Ridley's. And, whenever Michael Thomas comes back twice a year, you really need to have some balls in that division. So I'm really excited about this one because I think right away it's going to say a lot. Because if you're the Panthers, this is a good matchup for you to showcase Sam Darnold. Yeah, you got the revenge narrative, you got all that, but it's not the Steelers' defense that he's going in there. He's going up against a defense that he knows a lot of the guys on that field, and also he's not going up against a buzzsaw.
Right. Like the Jets secondary looks highly, highly, highly questionable. Like
I can't name you a corner that they have.
Like obviously Marcus May is still there, but the corner situation is bad. Obviously no Carl Lawson. If you want to talk about trench battle, though, like to me, one of the rising or breakout stars from last year was Brian Burns. Brian Burns is a devastating edge rusher. Nasty spin move. Really has a sick get off. Seeing him go up against Becton, that's like one of those trench battles to keep an eye out for if you're watching that game. I just think even though I do like the direction the Jets are going in, this is a year where I think they're just looking for players for the long term. Like I don't see the Jets being all that competitive. Like they might be in some games, but it's just there's just not a lot there roster wise that you could be fully confident in. Like I do think Carolina wins this game, and it's just a matter of how good does Darnold look, because this is I think one of those games where you really want Darnold to show he could I think competency is the best word, but you also want to see him stretch the field but not take calculated risks. I think Darnold, one of his biggest issues in New York, where he was trying to do too much, which understandably so, given how dire the situation was. But now you want to see him find the balance where it's like, okay, you want to take risks, especially with those weapons, but don't put the ball in harm's way too much, because I just feel like especially when he was leaving the pocket and trying to make those ass structure plays, he put the ball in harm's way way too often. So it's one of those games where I don't want to see too many mistakes. Put up your stats. You're going to get a couple high percentage looks. With McCaffrey, there's going to be mismatches being created. Just have a composed game. Like this is one of those games where, deliver.
Yeah. I'm reading some of the quotes from some of the Jet players now. Like C.J. Mosley says, new coordinator, new offense, a new team, new weapons around him. So we have to plan accordingly. And he's been really, really bright and has popped in film that we've studied with him on Carolina. And then sort of Quinnen Williams echoed the same sentiment. Sam looked great in the preseason. Sam was a great quarterback and a great person in general. So there is some love on the Jets' behalf for Sam Darnold. I think Sam Darnold is in. This is a big year for him too, man. Because if he can ball out, and if you're Carolina, again, I made this. Not claim, but like I had that take on the NFC South show that we did about how Sam Darnold is not only an important piece this year, but just it has a lot of long-term ramifications. Because if you go back the last 2 off seasons, they lose Bradbury, they replace him with a first-round pick corner, J.C. Horn, and then they traded for a quarterback, got rid of that quarterback, then bring in a quarterback. So it's like if you had kept Bradbury, maybe you take a Justin Fields, or you're in that position where you could draft someone.
Front office wise, Carolina has been one of the worst run organizations.
They miss Gettleman.
He is their most successful all time. That's why I feel like he was 2015 executive of the year. So Carolina's had their issues.
Yeah.
Marty Herney likes to pay people in the wrong areas.
Yeah. What do you Zach Wilson? What are your thoughts?
I haven't really seen much. Like I don't know. I haven't really been paying attention to Jets too much. It's just been off the radar. I just don't expect a whole lot. But I think they're obviously going to try to give him high percentage looks. LaFleur coming from that Shannon offense, get him out in space, run the bootlegs, just try to give him as much play action as possible. But ultimately, they're going to get in a situation where he has to be a drop-back passer. He's going to have to throw the ball 40, 45 times. And I'm not sure if they have the personnel to do that. I know they invested on the offensive line. The left side should be good. I'm not sure about the right side. I don't know what their running game is going to be like. Like Tevin Coleman's their starter. Long live Tevin Coleman. But he hasn't necessarily proven much since leaving Atlanta. So I guess Wilson, he's going to take his lumps. I think it's just a matter of you want to see that arm. We see that big arm. Is he going to connect? I don't know if the Jets have the personnel to connect downfield because you look at their best players. Corey Davis, more of an intermediate threat. With Crowder and Elijah Moore, they're kind of like guys in the slot, move the chains. So how is he going to channel that big arm? Is he going to make those intermediate throws that you need to make in the NFL? Time will tell.
Who do you got in this game?
Oh, Carolina.
Carolina?
Yeah, no hesitation.
The line is moving crazy. They're a 5.5-point favorite. I don't know if I feel as if I take that. I'd probably take the Jets. I could see the Jets. This game is ultimate just like coin flip, right?
Yeah.
That's why
I don't think it's a coin. Because I do have expectations of Carolina.
Yeah.
I don't know who's the man. CJ Mosley has barely played the last 2 years. Now he's got to go chase around McCaffrey. Oh man, have fun with
he's
that.
in trouble. Yeah, McCaffrey should definitely pay off his salary on DFS this week for sure. Where did McCaffrey go in your draft?
Oh, one.
One, right?
Yeah.
Was it not ridiculous that people were wondering if he should be the number one pick? I thought it was kind of asinine.
Dude, he's a cheat code, man. Those receptions, you know how much they pay off? And I'm a Dalvin Cook fanboy, but no, if you get one, you go McCaffrey.
Bro.
Those receptions are just so valuable.
I couldn't believe. I was having conversations with some of my buddies because this is the first year I'm not playing yearly fantasy. I think since I got into like football, like the 8th grade. Very upsetting. And I went to some live drafts, and I was like, fuck, yo, I missed this shit. I wish I had one. Because you would come to our draft. Our draft was a good time. We had some beers, had the board talking mad shit.
You analyze everything. It's like, I don't know about this. I don't know about that.
I remember one time I got mad at you because you said something about a pick I made. I was like, shut up, Alan. What do you know?
Sometimes you just keep your mouth shut. I was like,
Last year, I took Tyler Lockett. Sorry, Eric had the pick.
No, I love Tyler Lockett. I'm always critical whoever takes Jarvis Landry.
Yeah, a couple of picks before me, Eric takes DK Metcalf, and then I take Tyler Lockett. And the whole time, I wanted Tyler Lockett over DK Metcalf. And I go to Eric, I was like, hey, man, why'd you take DK Metcalf over Tyler Lockett? I'm curious. And Eric's fucked up. He just goes, because he scores fucking touchdowns. And I was like, all right.
Yeah, he does.
And then he scored mad touchdowns last year. I was like, all right, Eric, you win on that one for sure. Sometimes it's that simple.
Yeah.
All right. One more game I want to talk about.
Talk about the real best one, though.
There's probably there's definitely the matchup of the weekend.
Yeah.
Browns at the Chiefs. This is a rematch of the divisional round. I was just rewatching that game, actually. Dude, it's 16-3. Baker throws a pass to the receiver, and then the fumble touchback.
Shot Higgins, yeah.
That cuts that game to 16-10 with about 1:30 left. Now you could say the Chiefs, their offense, maybe they go down and they score again. Was Mahomes out? I think Mahomes had gotten...
Mahomes, I don't think left till like the late third quarter.
Late third quarter. Yeah. So that's a huge momentum swing there.
Yeah.
The Browns returned all 11 starters on offense. Odell, I think, might be the biggest X factor in the AFC. I think from a skill position, if he can be... Now, look, he hasn't been Odell since like 2016. Since Eli completely...
But he still causes fear with his ability.
Yeah, and I know it's just Instagram, but he looks great in those workout videos.
He takes care of himself.
Yeah,
Man.
yeah.
He prides himself on being the best. To me, there's never been any concern about Odell's commitment to being great. It's just a matter of it being the right fit. And all right, maybe at times his personality, like he gets a little edgy, but like don't. Odell has a real work ethic. You see him making those catches in warm-ups.
If he can be anything like the receiver we thought he once was, like we used to consider him like in that,
He was number one. That's
we had him in the D-Hop, Julio, Devontae, AB range. If you can add a guy like that to your offense, the idea that this is where like the analytics shit pisses me off, because it's like, bro, you make it work with guys. Like if I have a chance to get a guy like that on my team, the talent prevails. Yeah. And you brought up a great point about how some of those numbers were misleading because you had Freddie Kitchens there too.
Yeah, we need a full season on Stefanski. That's what it really comes down to.
If he can slide into that Stephon Diggs role, like what he had with Minnesota, and then you put Landry as like that Adam Thielen guy, like, yo, sky's the limit for this team and this offense. And what they did between the draft and free agency, they loaded up on defense, because you're looking at your conference, you're like, what do I got to worry about? I got to worry about Buffalo, and I got to worry about Kansas City. Lo and behold, you play the Chiefs week 1.
And you're in a tough division,
and
too.
You are in a tough division.
They should win a division, but still, you got 4 intense games ahead of you.
Yeah, for sure, without a doubt. And I do think that the Bengals' offense is going to put up some points on people. So you have a lot of offensive weapons that you got to try to negate their strengths. But this one here, man, I want to be a little ballsy and say that I think Cleveland wins this game. Mahomes in the preseason, I know it's just preseason, but he played more than I thought he would. And I saw someone tweet that if Mahomes wasn't Mahomes and this was like Trey Lance doing this, we'd be like, yo, he's a bust. He sucks. Because Mahomes had some wild, just like, what the hell were those?
He was coming off surgery. Yeah.
That's fair. Yeah. But there was also some plays where he had he might be, I don't want to say scarred, but he might be damaged from that Super Bowl, the running he did. Because there were some points where, like, he could step up into the pocket and he was just rolling out.
Oh, okay. That's a bad sign. That's what Baker was doing, especially in the early
couple, year and a half.
Always going to his right. I'll never forget that Rams game where literally Clay Matthews wasn't even rushing quarterback. He just stayed in the lane.
And he ran to him. Yeah. I remember that play, too.
Yeah, so I guess that's a little concerning. But I think the only way Chiefs are really going to win, they need I think third downs are obviously big, but they just need to control time possession. Use that running game. You got the offense line. You got the best running back 10 in the league. You got to just pound it, control time possession. Baker needs to play pretty much a turnover-free game. Get a couple of chunk plays with Odell and just control the clock. Ultimately, even that's always risky because Kansas City could put up 30 points and barely have 20 minutes of possession. That's how dangerous they are.
They could score 17 points in 4 minutes.
Right.
Field goal, kick return, it's just wild.
Which they've done in the past. I think the most fascinating thing is you look at what both teams have addressed in the offseason. Kansas City's offensive line, Cleveland's defensive line. That left side, I think they're going to try to pair Clowney and Garrett together on that right side on passing downs. And you look what Kansas City's done. Orlando Brown trade for Joe Thuney, big money. How do those two guys face off against Garrett and Clowney? I think that's a huge matchup, and because that's where those are the differences. Because both these teams they're pretty much the same as they should be. They were both very good last year, hence why they're in the divisional round playing against each other. But with the changes, I want to see in the trenches Kansas City's O-line against Cleveland's D-line. Both units were pretty below average last year. Now they've revamped up. They bolstered up. Let's see how it goes.
I'm really curious to see over the first couple of weeks who's going to step up in that wide receiver 2 role for the Chiefs. Because, look, Sammy Watkins, a very polarizing player on NFL Twitter. Some people like him, some people dislike him. I'm not a fan of his. You can't have one good game every 12 that you play if you're a wide receiver, especially at the money that they brought him in with. And now I think you're asking a lot of Pringle and Hardman and these guys to step up. I know you got Kelsey and Hill. But also, man, those dudes have not missed no time. Mahomes has missed some time. Kelsey now is getting older. Hill's still a problem. I think he has a legitimate chance to break 2,000 yards this year. I really think with all the, the A-dot is always like 20 yards downfield and shit like that. But I really think it's important to see who steps up as a reliable, 3rd and 8. They'd hit Sammy Watkins, 3rd and 3. Play action, bombs downfield to Sammy Watkins. Like, you need to have another guy that you could trust and to win his matchup because he's not going to get double teamed. So you got Hill, you got Kelsey. It's only going to make it easier for you. Right. So you need to kind of step up in that role as a number 2 wide receiver.
Yeah, I hear good things about Pringle, but I like to me Pringle and Hardman are the 2 guys you're looking at. Just Hardman, you expect him more out of at this point. Like he just looks like a gadget player at this point where they have to manufacture plays for him.
Well, he can't be that now.
Yeah.
It can't be 3-4 end of rounds and shit like nah, man. We gotta
you gotta see you run routes. We gotta design plays for you.
20-yard out.
You gotta create separation.
Yeah,
move the chains. So
yep. How do you think this game plays out?
I'm still gonna go Kansas City. I'm not overly confident about it. I don't think Tyrann Matthews playing, right? Because he got COVID. He might be questionable. I'm not sure. That's obviously a big loss.
These COVID things are so wacky, man, because I don't know all the players that have and haven't been vaccinated. I know some team, I know the Falcons have been fully vaccinated.
I heard 94% of leagues vaccinated. So
yeah.
Like if you
look, and like the Bucks are fully vaccinated too.
I think you just have to look at the high profile players. I think the Colts are the biggest concern between Wentz and Darius Leonard. Like, if you just look at the players that have been outspoken against, we talked about the Vikings ad nauseum and the preview show, so that's all you could really do at this point. But other than that, I think teams are taking care of business.
Yeah. I want to go with Cleveland.
They're top 3 team in the AFC. But it's
also they're last 16 years, opening week. What do you think their record is?
2-14.
15-1.
Oh, that tie. What was that against? Like Pittsburgh?
I think it was against Pittsburgh.
2018, maybe.
Holy shit!
When Le'Veon was holding out and James Conner had a big game, they're like, who needs Le'Veon? They're kind of right about that.
Shout out to Le'Veon signing with the Ravens.
Oh, he did?
Yeah.
How long?
Like today, a couple hours ago.
Really? Oh, damn. Okay.
Yeah.
Damn, they didn't sign Devontae Freeman. Come on, man.
Former Giant great Devontae Freeman.
Devontae Freeman, unfortunately, has been on way too many teams, man.
I'm gonna go with Cleveland. Fuck it, just to be different.
All right, go ahead. I'm going.
I think this is gonna be a big test. If Cleveland could leave this game either with a win ultimately, or if it's like a late field goal,
if they win, that's huge for them. That's a huge confidence boost. Like, who could be that? I know it's kind of weird talking about morale boosting, but that would just.
Does this sound familiar? You've got one device that lets you catch the game live, another that lets you stream your favorite shows, you're watching sports highlights on your phone, and you've got your neighbor's best friend's login for the good stuff. Well, I want to tell you about a simple way to get all that entertainment you love without the hassle, and a great way to finally get your TV together. It's called DirecTV Stream, and it brings you live TV and on-demand favorites together like never before, so you can watch your favorite sports, movies, and shows all in one place. That means no more juggling remotes and no need to buy another device ever again. And the best part? There's no annual contract. So get rid of the clutter and the confusion and get your TV together with DirecTV Stream. You can learn more at directtv.com. That's directtv.com. Compatible device required. Content varies by package. No team can afford to overpay for talent. Build a championship team with Indeed, the smart way to only pay for quality candidates that meet your must-have requirements. When hiring gets hard, you need Indeed, the job site that makes hiring incredibly simple. Just attract, interview, and hire. In fact, with Indeed, you can do all of your hiring in just one place. Indeed knows how important it is to make the most of your recruiting hours and dollars. And with Indeed, you can save time and money by setting your must-have qualifications and only pay for the quality candidates that meet them. Get started right now with a $75 sponsored job credit to upgrade your job post at Indeed.com/Blue Wire. Get a $75 credit at Indeed.com/Blue Wire. Indeed.com/Blue Wire. Offer valid through September 30th. Terms and conditions apply.
Hey guys, looking for a betting advantage this football season? You need to download BetQL, the only app you'll need to compare betting odds and make smart bets. Their best bet computer model scans over 350,000 unique bets per year to give you a best bet recommendation for every game across all major sports and gives you the reasoning behind why you should place the bet. Their model covers everything from spreads, over-unders, and player prop bets. Don't want to use this model and prefer to do the research yourself? Well, BetQL has all the necessary tools for your betting research needs. Tools like line movement and sharp data on who the pros are backing, team summaries highlighting previous success against the spread and over-under, team lineup breaking news and injury status updates, and leaderboards to track how you stack up against others and to view your winning streaks. Better data, better bets. Head to the App Store or Google Play Store now to download BetQL. You can also head to try.betql.co/BlueWire to get started now. Enter the discount code BlueWire at payment checkout for 25% off any of their subscription offerings. Make sure to check out their offers page to find a special offer to receive a full free year of BetQL. Don't miss out on the chance to gain your betting advantage during this football season.
You're like, okay, we could go to Arrowhead and win.
Yeah.
Sky's the limit.
All right, let's get into a Patreon roll call because I'm really excited about this segment. I pitched the idea to you, and you were enthusiastic too. We got Nick Chavez, Christopher Velasquez, Derek Platees, Devin Rondon, Jordan Riley, Corin Johnson Hoops, Ryan Pisner, Stephen Briggs. And shout out to Charlie and Olga, our newest members of the Patreon. D-Generation Bets betting content is going to be back. Patreon exclusives only. And yeah, patreon.com/veteransminimum to get in. It's too much to run down. Just go check out the Patreon and you'll see everything that's available. Okay, Alan, I came up with this idea while I was taking a dump. And I thought it was going to be a good one. Would you agree?
Oh, what you came up with?
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought you were trying to make a reference to taking a dump. I'm like, oh.
Take that for an image.
Yeah.
Okay. We're going to do a Super Bowl draft from now. We're each going to pick 4 teams each. So we're going to pick 8 teams that we think can win the Super Bowl. At the end of the year, we'll figure out a wager and we'll tweet it out. Maybe a dinner or something or a beer, whatever.
I'm always for dinner.
Always for dinner.
Yeah.
But I'm going to throw a wrinkle in this. It's going to go like a regular draft. Alan's going to get the first pick as the guest. Mm-hmm. And then I'm going to get 2 picks. Alan's going to get 2 picks. I'll get 1. Alan will get 1. Mm-hmm. We're using the WinBet Super Bowl odds. We're not picking the Chiefs and the Bucks, who are the 2 favorites from both conferences. Alan, your first pick. Who would you pick? These are teams that you think can win the Super Bowl because I want to see. I have a list of 10 teams that I think can win the Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. Obviously, 2 of them are the 2 teams that we're not talking about. Mm-hmm. I want to see if we settle on the 8 teams that I think can win the Super Bowl. Okay. Who's your first pick?
Gotta go Green Bay because I picked Green Bay to make the Super Bowl, so it only makes sense. And given that I've kind of talked about them a lot so far, I'm not sure how much more insight I give. I just believe in major defensive improvement. Rodgers is going to be locked in. I think A.J. Dillon, I want to see how they use him in his second year because obviously Aaron Jones is the man, but A.J. Dillon, clearly they're going to have some sort of role for him. Who potentially maybe Amari Rodgers or Randall Cobb rolls back the clock. Like the receivers have to be better this year after what Rodgers put up with. Like Valdez-Scantling shouldn't be playing 50-55 snaps a game given how much they dressed the receiving corps. But I just continuity and roster talent. That's pretty much what I'm banking on, and best quarterback receiving duo in the league.
Is it?
I would take Rodgers and Adams over everybody. I know Mahomes Hill is probably people could go with that, but to me, Rodgers Adams, there's nothing more automatic right now.
It's hard to argue that. Yeah, it's really hard to argue that. Especially coming off of MVP and the monster year that Adams had. I mean, think about it. Dude missed like 2.5 games.
Right.
Almost broke the touchdown record.
18 touchdowns, yeah.
Fucking wild. Okay. I am going to go with the Rams because they are my Super Bowl pick. Mm-hmm. Not going to spend too much time on it because I'm trusting Stafford going there. I think it's the best roster he's been on. McVay has a guy that he could give the whole playbook to. So they are my first pick because they are my actual Super Bowl winner. Was Green Bay your actual Super Bowl winner?
Not my winner. I picked Kansas City. You had him.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go with the Rams and I'm going to go with the Bills on the wraparound.
I figured that.
Yeah, I actually bet this at the sports books.
FanDuel?
In Jersey, yeah. To be the Super Bowl matchup. Look, Buffalo, I think, has a legitimate chance to have the number 1 record in all of football. I think you need to capitalize on Josh Allen and this core that they have right now because that contract is going to kick in starting next year, like the big money. Mm-hmm. Not that they can make any additions now, but who knows? Maybe a trade pops up or something like that, take on a big contract. But I just think that this team they've taken the steps, right? Like last year, 2 years ago, they make the playoffs and they have that wacky game against the Texans, that Saturday 4:35 kickoff, which is always weird in wild card. Mm-hmm. And then they lose that game. And then last year, they get to the AFC title game. So it's like you've had the growing pains. You've established yourself as a legitimate threat. And Bills Mafia is going to be in the arena this year. Well, the stadium, I should say. So I got the Rams and the Bills. Now you got the next two picks. And I got to say, so far, all the teams that we've mentioned have been on my list.
First one I have to go is Cleveland. To me, they're the third best team in the AFC. We talked about offensive line, running game. There's going to be games where they're just going to control time possession. They're going to dominate in the trenches. Seeing how they've invested in defensively. Here's Troy Hill and John Johnson, who they picked with friends. I thought two were, besides Ramsey and Donald, obviously, I thought Johnson Hill were arguably two of the most important players on that Rams defense and why they were so successful last year.
Couldn't agree more.
Yeah. So for the Browns, it's all about Baker's development. I think it really relies on Baker and, of course, how good defense is. Because defense is going to improve. It just has to, because defense is pretty below average last year. So it ultimately relies on Baker, and I'm going to bank on them. And then my other pick, I guess I'm going to – not much of a true reach, but I'm picking them over a couple other teams. But I'm going with San Fran.
Ooh, okay. They are a team that I have on this list.
Yeah, I know. I think it's a little bit of a reach, but at this point, I want to take now upside, right? A team that I think has huge holes. To me, San Fran have huge holes. It's just a matter of at some point you're going to have to get Trey Lance in the field, because whether it's bad play or just not taking enough chances, I think it's just Jimmy Garoppolo's too limited. I heard a stat on the Athletic show. Jimmy Garoppolo has like the least amount of attempted passes over 15 yards over the last 2 seasons. Like, he just does not take the shots downfield. I know this offense isn't really built vertically. Like, you look at Debo, Kittle, like, they're not necessarily guys that take the top off a defense, but still the fact that he's so hesitant to throw the ball downfield, it just limits your offense. So at some point they're going to have to put Trey Lance in there, and I know secondary is looking certain, like their bank, and he had a great year last year, but considering his injury history, it is risky to bank on Jason Rez, your number one corner, considering how many times he's had season-ending injuries. But he's back there, and if he's on the field, he's going to be great, but it's a huge concern. But besides that, I just think front seven, receiving weapons, the running game looks crazy, and if you add Lance, it adds a whole other new dimension. So, and how much I love Shanahan. So, I'm going to bank on San Fran.
Going back on the Rams DBs that have left, it was a concern for me that they lost those two guys, Johnson and Hill, but the Rams strike me as an organization that if you look at like the last 5 to 6 years, the amount of DBs that they've lost that have gone on to, they lost them at the time when they were with the Rams that were really solid players, right? Like Marcus Peters, right? I'm not bugging.
Marcus Peters was there.
Yeah, I just blanked for a second. Rodney McLeod had signed a big year, 5 for 37 with the Eagles. Yeah. You had Tremaine Johnson, right? He was the complete bust with the Jets. Did not work out. Yeah. You had Joyner Lucas, who signed also. Is that the rapper?
Yeah, not
LaMarcus Joyner, I think.
LaMarcus Joyner, yeah, Joyner Lucas.
Hold on.
LaMarcus Joyner went to Raiders, correct.
LaMarcus.
Yeah, I know where you're going with that. I'm like, wait.
Yeah, LaMarcus Joyner. Yeah. Joyner Lucas.
Yeah, big Joyner Lucas.
But this is a team that has, I don't want to compare them to the Steelers with the wide receivers, but this is a team that they find DBs often. Right. So, it's a big hole that they've lost on the defense with those guys that left to go to Cleveland. But I trust the infrastructure there to make up for it. Right. I like the San Fran pick. That's a team that I had on my list too. All right, so now I get 2 picks, my last 2 picks. I'm going to sound like a homer on this one. And it's not homer as the Giants, but I think I'm going to go with the Chargers.
I don't see why not at this point.
I think the Chargers,
they're on the borderline.
They have a chance to be really good, but they also have a big chance of playing in the wild card. Like their best chance to make the playoffs is as a wild card team. I had them winning 11 games. I have them winning 11 games.
That's not necessarily bad. I know they're not going to get a home game, but think about it. Only 2 teams don't play in the wild card.
And also, does it really matter for them? Like, it's not like
there's no home field.
There's no home field there.
So no, I don't think it's that big a deal. It just, I think for them, you kind of want to get. I think in the AFC, you want to get that first wildcard spot because that probably means you're playing an AFC South team. You don't want to be playing Buffalo or Kansas City or Cleveland, which are likely the 3 teams. Or put Baltimore up there, fine. But I think if you look at the AFC and NFC, you want to get that first wildcard spot because you're either playing AFC South or NFC East, and that's best matchup you can ask for.
That's a hell of a fucking point, man. Yeah, for sure.
So
and
I think that's the target the Chargers have to reach.
Going back to the Chargers. Well, staying on the Chargers, they are very top-heavy. All their starters are tremendous. A lot of talent. Not so much depth behind them.
Right.
And I do think that this rookie class for them, Josh Palmer, Asante Samuel Jr., and Slater, I think we're going to look back at this class and be like, man, they hit home runs on all 3 of those picks.
Okay.
I really do.
I'm going to keep tabs on that.
This dude Palmer is going to be a problem. He's going to be the reason why they let go of Mike Williams because he's a big body guy, burner down the field too, coming out of Tennessee. He had some moments in the preseason as well. And I'm driving this Chargers bandwagon for sure.
Nice.
So the Chargers are the 1 pick.
I think you can go as NFC team.
I'm going to go with an NFC team because those are the only 4 AFC teams that I like personally. I'm not high on the Ravens. I'm a little concerned with their wide receivers and with the skill guys.
Insert every year. Concerned about the Ravens.
Yeah. But I really think in the AFC, it's the Chiefs, Bills, and Browns. Yeah. And then that next tier starts with like your Chargers, Titans, depending how you feel. Yeah. I'm going to go with Washington, man.
Oh, okay. I don't hate it. It's just I would have gone with another team, but that's cool.
This is the last team that I personally have that I think can win the Super Bowl. Now, I know. This is the issue that I have. If I close my eyes, can I see them being in LA in SoFi Stadium and that thick-ass, long, ugly beard Ryan Fitzpatrick is holding Lombardi? I can't see it happen.